Let's talk about this week's module. You find this week's module by clicking on course content and then clicking on the folder that contains this week's module. This week we're going to talk about science. We're going to talk about science as a tool to understand the world. What can you count as truth? What can you count as evidence? Those kinds of things. And you all know a lot about evidence already, anyway. So let's chat a little bit about how science is kind of like police work and detective work, um, and how it's not. And I know something about science, you know something about detective work. Maybe we can, kind of start this discussion together. So those are some of the things I want you to think about this week. Um, and then biology is the study of life, right? Since we're all alive, this matters to us in a real personal way. And that's kind of what I'm talking about in the overview. In the overview, I always also tell you about what the chapters are that we're going to be talking about and a little bit about the assignments that I do. And this week, I want you to basically introduce yourself, talk a little bit about the scientific and critical thinking, and kind of compare, contrast. What do you think a scientist does? How is that, similar? How is it different from criminal justice and courts and those kinds of evidentiary type of things? Um, I want you to read chapter 1 and 2 in the book. And I want you to review some of the materials in the demonstration section, specifically the Dr. Schwartz video and the natural versus synthetic blog post. And then you're going to have a quiz. You got 3 attempts at the quiz, and the highest grade counts. Now, all of these things mentioned in the overview you can find below. So there's some helpful documents that in this case are mostly PowerPoints. So if you click on here, you'll find the PowerPoints that are related to this chapter. And you look at them. Don't study from the PowerPoint, study from the book, because the PowerPoints give you a summary, and they'll help you summarize things, but they're not really good for studying from. Background information, if you click on here, you get to the book. And then you just click on table of contents, and there is your book materials. There is a set of videos. So if you click on here, you get to the scientific thinking videos. They're a short, relatively entertaining type of set of videos. The critical thinking videos are actually here. And I want you to look at both of them. This down here is a little different. Um, it talks about hypothesis testing and how people actually kind of get this wrong all the time. So it's kind of a fun little video. Figure out if you can figure it out before he gives you the solution. Um, this one is a pretty good video talking about chemicals versus natural items. This is a blog post that tells you about natural versus synthetic chemicals. Um, and I'll give it away. There is no such thing as chemical and natural. Everything comes from the periodic system. There's nothing else. The your pencil is made up from the same thing as the carbon in your pencil is the same carbon as you breathe in and out. It's all the same stuff. It's all one big cycle. Um, you're going to be asked about this in your quiz. So look at these before you take the quiz. Crash Course Biology is I wanna introduce Hank to you relatively early. He's kind of entertaining. These are just videos that are educational videos because education doesn't have to be painful. It can actually be fun. So I want you to kind of look at these things. So this is the stuff I want you to look at, and then the next section is the stuff I want you to do. So in the introductory discussion board, click on it, and you get to the discussion board. Click Create Thread, type intro and your name, um, and then tell me something about you. I already told you something about me, so for full credit, you're going to have to do a post and a response to somebody else. when you go back here, here's what I want you to. I want you to look at the scientific and critical thinking videos. The links are to the sites are there. And I want you to write about 500 words or so of, you know, the kinds of things that you're thinking after in relation to these. And I usually give you some questions to guide you a little bit. So check this one out, and answer it, obviously. Um, the SQ3R reading method, that's a bonus item, and I probably should flip it around so that it looks more like bonus. The textbook reading is a skill. It's not something that everybody just knows how to do. There are reading systems that help you with this. And so if you click on this, and assignments, this is how assignments work all the time. So you click on this, you get to this assignment. Now, here's the kicker. You have to click on write submission to write your items that you want to write. Do not. There's a comment section. This is for comments only. So don't be typing your submission in the comments section. You also can add files to it if you want to. Like if you want to type it out separately and then add a file, you can do that too. And then you just have to say submit, right? I said cancel because I can't submit things as an instructor. So that's the SQ3R, and then there's a quiz. So the quiz covers chapter 1 and 2. It's multiple choice. You have 3 attempts at the quizzes. Then this tells you what you're supposed to be able to know at this point in time. And then sometimes I give you optional resources, things about like how science really works, because it doesn't really work like your science experiment from high school. And that's basically the module for this week. I hope this is helpful.